All right, let's get straight into it. What you are about to hear is the unvarnished, uncomfortable truth about the fight for a separate Cape nation, a story the ANC government and their sycophants in the media don't want you to know. This isn't a political debate, it's an autopsy of a failed state and the story of one province's desperate struggle to break free from the corpse. We're going to expose the real reasons, name the names, and reveal the shocking scale of corruption and incompetence that has brought South Africa to its knees. So buckle up, because this is going to be a rough ride. The desire for Cape independence isn't born out of some nostalgic whim, or, as the race baiters in government love to scream, a desire for apartheid. That is a lazy, intellectually bankrupt lie designed to shut down a crucial conversation. No, this movement is a direct, visceral response to 3 decades of systemic collapse, of grand theft on a scale that would make a pirate blush, and of a government that has become a predator on its own people. It's a fight for survival. Let's start with the most glaring lie, the economic one. The Western Cape contributes a staggering 475 billion rand to the national fiscus annually. Let that number sink in, 475 billion rand. And what do we get back? Crumbs. We are being systematically looted, our hard-earned tax money siphoned off to pay for the Gucci lifestyles of ANC cadres in Gauteng and to bail out the completely collapsed municipalities in the Eastern Cape and Northwest, where in 2023 alone, the Auditor General reported over 5.27 billion rand in fruitless and wasteful expenditure. That's our money, folks. Money that should be fixing our roads, securing our communities, and powering our industries is being flushed down the toilet of ANC corruption and sheer incompetence. The Cape Independence Advocacy Group has laid this bare, showing that for every rand we send to Pretoria, we get a pittance in return, all while our people suffer under a national government that views us not as citizens, but as a piggy bank to be broken open and robbed. And who is behind this? It's not Britain. That's a red herring. The real architects of this movement are the ordinary people of the Cape, the coloured communities in places like the Cape Flats, forgotten and marginalised by the very black economic empowerment policies that were supposed to uplift the disadvantaged, but have instead become a tool for a new elite. Organisations like Gatvol Capetonian, led by their chairperson Fadiel Adams, have been screaming from the rooftops about how their people are pushed to the back of the queue for housing, for jobs, while the ANC rewards its cronies. It's the Afrikaner farmers facing a genocidal onslaught of farm murders and the constant threat of land expropriation without compensation. A policy that has nothing to do with justice and everything to do with seizing productive assets to cover for a failed economic model. It's the Khoi and San nations, the First Nations of this land, who have watched their heritage be trampled by a government that pays them lip service while stealing their birthright. And yes, it's the business owners, the white, black, Indian and coloured entrepreneurs in Cape Town who are sick and tired of trying to build a future with the anchor of Eskom and Transnet tied around their necks. Let's talk about that anchor, Eskom. The name alone sends a shiver down the spine of every South African trying to run a business, study for an exam, or simply keep food from rotting in their fridge. In 2023, we suffered a record 280 days of load shedding. 280 days! The economic cost? A catastrophic 560 billion rand lost to the South African economy, with the Western Cape, the nation's economic engine, taking a disproportionate hit. And why? Because of decades of state capture, of corrupt contracts with the Guptas, signed by the likes of former CEO Brian Molefe, of billions stolen and infrastructure left to rot. The ANC government's answer? More of the same. They have blocked the city of Cape Town at every turn, fighting them in court to prevent them from buying power independently, from building their own generation capacity. Why? Because if Cape Town succeeds, it exposes the lie. It proves that competent, clean governance is possible and that the ANC's failure is not an accident, but a choice. The same story plays out with the police. The national government, through SAPS, has utterly failed to protect the people of the Western Cape. Gang violence has turned communities like Manenberg and Lavender Hill into war zones. A 2022 High Court ruling revealed the sickening truth that the notorious 28's gang had infiltrated the highest levels of the Western Cape SAPS, with evidence that they had access to the provincial commissioner's very table. This isn't just failure, this is active collusion with evil. And when the Western Cape government begs for the devolution of policing powers for the right to protect its own citizens, the national government says no. They would rather see our children murdered than admit their own incompetence and relinquish a shred of control. This is the heart of the matter. Control. The ANC does not see the Western Cape as a partner in building a new South Africa. They see it as a rebellious province that must be punished, starved into submission. Look at the scandal of the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA. They systematically dismantled the once functional Metrorail service in Cape Town, allowing cable theft and vandalism to run rampant, leaving a skeleton service that strangles the economy and traps the working poor. This was a deliberate act of neglect, a way to punish a city that dares to vote against them. Look at the ongoing water crisis in the Eastern Cape, where the ANC-run municipality of Makanda has collapsed entirely, while the DA-run Cougar municipality just next door functions perfectly. The pattern is undeniable. Where the ANC governs, failure follows. Where they don't, they do everything in their power to sabotage success. The real reason behind the Cape independence movement is this. The people of the Western Cape are tired of being hostages in a burning building where the fire department is run by the arsonists. They have looked at the numbers, they have lived the reality, and they have concluded that separation is the only rational choice left. The movement is growing, not because of some foreign conspiracy, but because the ANC government, from Cyril Ramaphosa down to the most corrupt local councillor, has made it inevitable through their greed, their malice, and their staggering, breathtaking incompetence. The question is no longer why they want to leave, but how any sane person could possibly expect them to stay. The modern movement for an independent Western Cape, often referred to as CapeXit, is not a monolithic entity, but a collective of various political parties, advocacy groups, and civic organizations, each contributing to the cause in different ways. The foundational political party of the contemporary movement is the Cape Independence Party, also known as CapeXit. Founded in 2007 and led by Jack Miller, it was the first party registered with the Independent Electoral Commission to explicitly campaign for secession. The party's platform is built on the belief that the Cape is culturally and economically distinct and that it is financially drained by the national government, citing the Division of Revenue Act as evidence that a significant portion of revenue raised in the province does not return. The party has achieved modest but growing electoral success, currently holding 2 seats on the Cape Town City Council, following a recount in the 2021 municipal elections. A pivotal organization in coordinating the movement is the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, CIEG. Formed in 2020, the CIAG is not a political party, but a single-issue political pressure group dedicated to unifying various pro-independence entities. Its primary mission is to bring about a provincial referendum on independence through lawful and peaceful means, focusing on activities such as media campaigns, political lobbying, and polling. The group has been instrumental in gauging and demonstrating public support, claiming that 43% of Western Cape voters support independence and 51% support holding a referendum. In 2023, following the Western Cape Premier's refusal to call a referendum, the CIAG was involved in the launch of the Referendum Party RP. This is a single-issue political party designed not to govern, but to use potential coalition power to force the issue of an independence referendum onto the political agenda. The movement has also gained crucial support from established political parties with broader platforms. The Freedom Front Plus, a party traditionally representing Afrikaner interests, officially pledged its support for Cape independence in late 2020. Its endorsement is significant, lending established political weight and a focus on the rights of Afrikaans speakers, whom it describes as the prospective majority language in an independent Cape. Another notable supporter is the Cape Coloured Congress, which advocates for the mixed race-coloured community, the largest single ethnic group in the Western Cape. Alongside civic groups like Gatvol Capetonian, they channel support from communities that feel marginalized by the national government's race-based policies, such as broad-based black economic empowerment, which they argue discriminates against them in practice. A more recent development is the formation of the United Cape States Transitional Authority, which positions itself as a unifying front for various organizations driving self-determination. The UCS aims to be a representative governing entity during a transition period and claims a combined supporter base of over 1.5 million people from its affiliated organizations. Other political parties have also expressed conditional support. While the official position of the Democratic Alliance, the governing party in the Western Cape, is for greater autonomy within South Africa rather than outright secession, it has confirmed it is willing to support a referendum on Cape independence. They are among 8 parties, including the African Christian Democratic Party, COPE, and the United Independent Movement, that have expressed support for allowing the public to vote on the matter. If this truth angers you, if it wakes you up, then you need to act. This channel is dedicated to ripping away the veil of propaganda and exposing the rot. We cannot do it without you. Your subscription, your like, your share on WhatsApp and Telegram, these are not just clicks. They are acts of defiance. They amplify this message and break the information blockade. If you can, join the channel membership, use the Super Thanks button. Your financial support directly funds our investigations, allowing us to dig deeper, to find more documents, to name more names. It gives a voice to the voiceless and holds the powerful accountable. Don't just be a spectator to the collapse of our nation. Be part of the resistance. Subscribe now, share this video everywhere, and let them know that the people are waking up. The time for silence is over.